I'm not gonna lie, he's like, I've gone in my car, you know, a couple of times over like 120, 130. He's like, I redlined it a couple of times, and he asked me, he's like, am I okay? And I told him, I was like, man,
no. Now on Ben's watch, he's gonna void your warranty. All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. So this is gonna be episode number 2 of the Washcast, and today we had Ben the GOAT, and Ben on his video. What are we gonna do today?
We're gonna be washing.
No. You're gonna void my warranty. That's what
I forgot about that.
That was the original thing in his video. So make sure you check out his video out. And if you guys haven't seen the last episode, it was with Towson. Turn the camera around. It was him on the first episode. And what we did was we watched his car, talked about life, talked about certain topics that are probably relevant to society these days, at least us car guys. We'll get into it. But show us around your car.
All right, well, you guys have kind of seen my M3 before if you watched some of Ken's earlier videos. But for anybody who's here new to Ken's channel, this is my 2018 BMW M3 finished in mineral white with the special edition, as Ken already said in Wayne's video.
One of two.
Yeah, the one of two special edition bronze 666 wheels. They're very hard to get like that, but
it takes a lot of driving if you catch my drift.
Definitely takes a lot of driving. But yeah, I mean, this is her, guys. There's nothing special about her. I kind of just blend in with traffic, so.
Well, I will say though, so here's the take. We're here to showcase what you could do inside the garage, right? Some people think, oh, you're gonna make a mess inside the garage. We literally just filmed his wash video, but look at the floors now. It's dried up. It's dried up. As long as you have your car somewhat close to the front of the garage, you're not too close to the walls, you're gonna be fine. And plus, this is concrete floor. You're not looking at it soaking in, right?
Exactly.
Especially when you drive your car in the rain, you bring it into the garage, it naturally gets wet. But do you think it's a mess?
No, absolutely not. I mean, we live in Florida. I mean, it's so hot outside right now. We're sweating. We're in the garage. I mean, the water's going to evaporate. Everything's just going to go bye-bye. So
yeah. So as you can say, Ben doesn't play around with his mods. So he has some high-priced mods. We'll get into that. So continue.
Yeah. No. Like I was saying, like Ken was saying, I have some high-priced mods. I like to make the joke of I just blend in with traffic because if you don't know what you're looking at and you're looking at this car, you're just going to think I'm another F80. White M3 on the road, but
or F30.
Or F30, yeah. I mean, at that point, I mean, even the F30 guys, they rock the same hood that I have. So had to ding you guys on that.
He said it. So make sure you dislike his video.
Wow, Kyler's gonna come in.
Yeah, for real, Kyler. Sorry, buddy.
Sorry, Cars Akeev.
Yeah, Cars Akeev. Sorry about that.
That's him.
But yeah, man, this thing definitely needs a wash, and I'm looking forward to cleaning her up because it's been about 2 weeks. We made it through the tropical storm that we just had.
Oh yeah, that little whore. Sorry. This whole video is gonna be like, look, you're gonna see a different side of me today. I joke around a lot.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, we made it through that, and we made it the 3-hour trip here. All the bugs, all the grass, everything. So.
Well, the last time he was on my channel was when you guys saw the break-in service, and we have a lot of those questions that were asked, and we're gonna tackle some of those questions today, and we're gonna see why he wants to void my warranty. So let's get into it. So Ben, I'm gonna let you tackle the front. I'm gonna let you tackle the rear.
All right.
And you're a guest in the house, so you get to try the Adams Polish's little cart swivel thing.
Appreciate it.
But today we're gonna work on his wheels, and I definitely want to tackle the front because those new massive painted, what color are they?
It's Brembo nickel plated.
It looks so good. Check that out, guys. Insane. I think that's one of the best colors you could have chose on a mineral white F80. So I think you did a good job. I know that was it difficult to figure out which one you wanted?
Yeah, so I'm not gonna lie, I went back and forth, I wanna say for about a good 3 months. Before I really decided on which color I wanted.
Okay.
And I was actually looking at colors before I even you know what I mean? Even order the brake calipers just so I could already have it prepared and ready to go.
Exactly.
And originally I was actually gonna go with kind of like a, almost like a champagne.
Okay.
But not like...
It would have clashed a little bit more.
It would have clashed a little bit more, but I definitely wanted something that stood out, that you could kind of see a little bit, ways away and looks really good when the wheels are rolling.
Exactly, this does it.
And yeah, I mean, this does it, but the champagne for me, once I got too deep in it and looking at all the different powder coats and how it had to be applied, I was like, nah, this is much simpler, and it still works really well.
I can tell you this, John, if you come over here, he was talking a lot of smack about your wheels being dirty, but check these out. These are pretty disgusting. You can see all this brake dust come out. So homeboy here talking mad smack about John. But I think, yeah, you did a really good job. I think it's one of the best colors you could have chose. And your tires are very dirty. Look at all that browning.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So guys, watching this video, that browning means that there's contaminants on his tires, basically dirt, grime, and all that stuff. Because you do drive this, not as a daily, right? But you drive this what? How often, every time a week, you think?
Probably anywhere from 3 to 4 times a week, depending on how spicy I'm feeling. You know, I at least drive it that much. It's not my literal 100% drive it every single day, daily.
Yeah.
But you know, I still try to give her, you know, at least 3-4 times a week some love.
Gotcha.
So it's not too bad in that aspect. Get to save a lot on gas because gas prices are still pretty high, and these cars they suck down gas like you wouldn't believe.
What do you like, 15 miles to the gallon?
You know, thankfully I'm actually a little bit higher. Because majority of my transit to work is the I-4.
Okay,
So
you got highway miles.
Yeah, highway miles. So
I'm not so lucky. I get I get 15 miles to the gallon, but I'm driving a lot of local miles.
yeah, you also do have more power than me, so it's understandable.
S58.
S58 for the win. Yeah, I do have to say this pressure washer, I had no idea how it was going to perform. I watched Cars with Keeves, his review on it, and it seemed like it did very well. I mean, he talked very highly of it, and then obviously I watched your videos of you watching, you know, your M3 and you talking very highly of it. And I have to say, you know, just like Wang said, you know, it's very impressive for the size that it is and the output. I mean, that's a very strong pressure washer for the money.
Yeah, and I gotta say, like, you know, if you were to purchase a top of the line pressure washer, like let's say a Krenzla, you're looking at $1,000 plus, you know, for those pressure washers.
Right.
I'm sorry, for me, it's not my budget to, you know, have disposable income just go into a pressure washer like that. When we're looking at these pressure washers, this is like one of the most, I mentioned it many times before, one of the best ones you can get for under $500. And it does an amazing job, as you saw today, also
Right.
on John's video. And some of the benefits, which I mentioned before, about having a pressure washer is that you're using a lot less water. So my water bill for these 3 wash videos is not going to be crazy,
Right.
you know? So again, I'm really happy that you guys came down to have this first wash cast.
Right.
And I think we're going to showcase what the BMW community is about. It's about, you know, camaraderie, and that's what we're showing here today.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, it's like you said, I mean, this is, for the price, this is a very good, affordable pressure washer, and it's like you said, you know, I mean, you know, who really has $1,000 to just throw around on a pressure washer that you're going to use, you know, to wash your car? And at that point, you have to ask yourself, are you paying for the actual quality and the performance of the product, or are you paying for the name? So just by using this right now, I can tell you're paying for the quality of the product. And, you know, also like you said, I mean, we're just here, we're chilling, we're talking, and we're building the camaraderie as we wash these super dirty wheels.
This is also coming from the guy that said, or that's saying that who has $1,000 to throw on
Oh my God.
Yeah. I know, right?
Oh my gosh.
OEM hood, he's got the OEM brakes.
So yeah, like,
All right,
like John
all right.
was bringing up, he's not cheap with his mods, right? So Ben, you have a really, really expensive hood. This is not the hood you get from like these third-party websites coming from overseas, right? Your hood's from overseas, from a different continent though, right?
Right.
Why did you pick, I know I mentioned this on a different maybe vlog, why did you pick this specific hood? And I can tell you why I would pick it.
Right, so I like to tell all my friends, followers, and things of that nature, there's a, you know, a method behind the madness, right? So for me, the biggest things were when wanting the CS hood, one, not only because of how good it looks, right? When the CS first came out, M3 and M4, you know, the hood was just the big eye catcher, right? You had the power dome, but you also had the vent that helped with heating and downforce. So, you know, that was one of the biggest reasons for me. I was like, dang, you know, I want that look. You know, everybody wanted that look. You had all these third-party companies, you know, copying the mold of the, you know, the OEM spec one. and making them and selling them for a fraction of the cost. But then what people found out that they were running into was fitment issues.
Oh, terrible fitment issues.
Terrible fitment issues. I mean, I'm sure you and even myself, we've been to plenty of cars and coffees, car shows, car events, and you'll see people with the an aftermarket CS/GTS hood.
Yeah.
And then you'll look at the gaps between the fender and the hood, or the front bumper and the hood, and you'll see it, and it's disgusting of how wide that gap is. It literally looks like your car was in an accident, and the body shop was just terrible at framework or aligning the panels. So that was a big no-no for me. And in my head, it's like if you're
want to
spending,
deal with that headache.
Yeah, you don't want to deal with that headache, and it's like if these cars, they're not cheap, right? If you're spending this much money on a car like this that holds its name, an M3, an M4, an M in general, a motorsport vehicle.
Yeah.
Why would you want to, cheap out in the aspect of, that, right? Because then you take your beautiful car that had OEM, OEM hood that fit, just fine, and then you put this aftermarket, aluminum hood on it or carbon fiber, and now your body fitment and body gaps just looks terrible. So that was definitely a big no-no for me. And that's why I decided to go with, the OEM GTS/CS hood.
Gotcha. That Adams polish is really strong. I had it on before this. This is the PNS brake buster. Not as strong, but you can smell the Adams polishes, the wheel cleaner is a different smell. I think people described it as rotten eggs, right? It's a very distinct smell. Do I use it all the time? No, but he's disgusting. I'm not he, but his car's wheels are disgusting, which is why we're using it today. I'm glad to actually see the brake calipers, man, because when I saw it on your reveal video,
right,
and the install video, they look pretty amazing and they look really impressive up in person. Mm-hmm. You mentioned these mods, you chose mods, right, because that hood, you could get the cheap hood, and I've seen these gaps, I've seen these issues with fitment, and I'm glad you did go with this because it just shows you a part of yourself. But end of the day, you're not going to have those issues with fitment.
Yeah, 100%. And like I said, I mean, you spend all this money on this car, making it, your own car. Why would you want to degrade it in that sense of, going somewhere and somebody like, dang, man, look at this guy's fitment on his fender to his hood, or look at his fitment on the front bumper to that hood. People talk about it, whether you realize it or not. And some people don't care about stuff like that, but me personally, I do. So, I didn't want those remarks made about my build.
Yeah,
personally.
but to be honest, everybody has their own, style.
Oh yeah, 100%.
That's your style. Other people may not have the bigger budget like you, Ben Baller, aka the GOAT. But you do what you can. What's up, guys? I'm hoping you guys are enjoying this video segment with Ben. Ben is episode number 2 of the Washcast. He has a really good story about his car, and his car looks really good. That mineral white, I gotta say, it looks a lot better when it's done and completed with the wash, but stay tuned for more. But I definitely want to thank our sponsors, and that's coming from Simply Carbon Fiber. Simply Carbon Fiber has been a big sponsor of this channel. As you can see, they provided me a whole bunch of accessories, sunglasses, phone cases, money clips, wallets, but one of my favorite accessory from them is actually this phone case. It does a good job of protecting my phone and also giving me some style. As you can see right there, it has a nice forged carbon fiber pattern to it. I necessarily wouldn't put forged carbon on the exterior of my car or even the interior of my car, but when it comes to phone accessories, wallets, I think it looks really cool. So I want to thank them for sponsoring this video. If you want to pick up anything from their website, you can use this discount code right over here in the link provided down below. It's going to save you some money. And also you can pick up something for the holidays. So if you guys are seeing this during the holidays, happy holidays and happy and healthy holidays for you and your family too. So let's jump back into the video. Enjoy the rest of the video. All right, so as I'm painfully washing your wheels.
So sorry.
Where you live right now, do you wash your car often or no?
So unfortunately,
No.
no. As much as I would like to wash my own car, me and Wang, cameraman, our situation. What? It's the truth. Our situation kind of sucks because we both live in an apartment. Now, our apartment, yes, does have hoses and spigots, and we kind of sometimes do go out there and we wash our cars on the weekend. But you know, I usually have you know, one of my detailers either, you know, meet me at work during the weekdays, or I'll drop my car off on the weekends to have them clean it. And unfortunately, you know, that's just how it is for us, is because we don't have you know, disposable water like you do. That's why we're here
It's not
today.
disposable. I'm paying for the water. But no, I've washed my car at your place before.
Right?
It just sounds like you're lazy.
Wow. I'm just a workhorse, man, just like you know, no time for all that.
Yeah, I was telling them this is like my only day off. Maybe tomorrow and that's it. Been a very busy month, and next month too. But
Decide to spend his day off with us
washing cars. But again, this is like a therapy, right? So I know I mentioned this. Is this considered therapy to you?
To me, yeah, no, definitely. I mean, it's very relaxing just to like, it's relaxing and it's satisfying to wash your car, wash all the dirt off. And you know, it's just like, me personally, I don't know how about, you know, everybody, the viewers feel, how you feel, but I always feel like the car feels better after you clean it,
yeah.
right? You go for a drive and it's like, oh man, you know, it feels like brand new again, you know, maybe it feels a little faster, you know, maybe that's just me, but that's how I've always been. Every time I wash the car, I get in and I drive it, I'm like, dang man, you know, brand new car.
And after you drive, you're like, damn, I just got it dirty.
Yeah, it's like, man, what have I done? All these bugs.
So I see that you're a veteran, right?
Yep.
I do want to thank you for your service.
I thank you for
We
your
did
support.
have Veterans Day, I believe this, a couple days ago? Or yesterday, Friday?
Yeah, yesterday, Friday, the 11th.
So, what got you into the military? I know it's a deep question, man.
That's a deep question. Deep question. Well, to keep a long story short.
If you're comfortable saying it.
No, yeah, no, I'm comfortable talking about it. Pretty much my whole life has been a military background.
Okay.
You know, both my parents served for 22 years in the United States Army.
Okay.
So I was kind of just brought up and raised around it. As I was born, they were transitioning out of the military. So I really didn't have that type of Army brat lifestyle,
yeah.
Moving around a lot. So I didn't really have to, you know, deal with that. And then, you know, as I grew older, I mean, like I said, you know, when your parents have been in for that long, you kind of just, it's instilled in you, you know, how your lifestyle is and the things that you do. So I was always used to being, you know, very organized, very neat, very well disciplined, very well behaved, and things of that nature. So I actually love basketball, and this is keeping the story short. I wanted to play for college. That was the plan. Unfortunately, I tore my ACL.
Yeah.
So I never got to the collegiate level. And at that point in my life, I was 19, and well, you know, there went my scholarship opportunities and things of that nature. So I'd pretty much known the military my whole life. So I was like, all right, well, this would be pretty easy for me. So why not? Why not just join? So that's what I did.
Gotcha. We'll continue that after I blow this off. All right, so Ben, before we rinsed the car off and, you know, lathered it up,
Yeah.
you were mentioning about the military, right? So
Yeah.
how long were you in the military for?
4 years.
4 years.
Sure.
Which branch?
United States Army.
And your parents were in the United States Army, right?
Correct.
Okay. How was it? Did you enjoy it? Was it something that, you know, obviously a lot of people choose the military because, you know, obviously family, you know, influences them. It's another way of getting out, so to say, some people say.
Right.
But what was your personal take on it? Obviously, you don't have to go too detailed because everybody's experience could be, you know, private, you know?
Yeah, no, I mean, my 4 years in, it was a pretty good experience. I mean, the Army taught me a lot, or the military in general taught me a lot. You know, taught me how to be a man, taught me how to be more disciplined, more organized. You know, we have a saying in the Army, I try to live my everyday life by it, and you can bleep it out if you want, but it's, you know, proper planning prevents piss poor execution.
I'm putting that in there.
All right, there you go. So, yeah, I mean, with proper planning, you know, anything is essentially, accomplishable. And, you know, I try to properly plan everything that I do on a day-to-day basis, you know, even with, you know, my money moves, with my job and things of that nature. So, you know, I try to live, again, my life by that. And, you know, the Army definitely will change your outlook on life. You know, I'm 100% much more of an appreciative person of everything in life now. You know, because I was in, you know, the things that I went through, the things that I saw and things of that nature.
Because where did you get deployed out to?
So I was stationed in Anchorage, Alaska.
Nice and cold?
Yeah, nice and cold. A lot colder than I would have liked, but that's where I was actually stationed at. And I ended up getting deployed about a year and some change in. So, you know, that was a, you know, totally different experience there. But all in all, I mean, the Army was great. And, you know, I have no regrets, no complaints. Like I said, it made me who I am today. And, you know, I'm grateful for that experience, so.
I gotta say, he's not a douchebag. There's, you know, BMW owners are known to be douchebags, but he's not one. And the person holding the camera is not one either. I would say, though, it takes a very special person to do that. Not everybody could do that, to sacrifice, you know, time, all that stuff, and what else you could sacrifice after the fact. But, again, very appreciative of what you've done for our country.
We appreciate your support, brother.
No problem. But besides that, so talk about your BMW journey, right? So you obviously, this is not your first BMW.
Nope.
What did you have before this?
So, well, if we go like that, before this I had the brand new 2020 BMW S1000RR.
Okay.
The brand new iteration that BMW came out with, completely new chassis design, completely new motor design. You know, everything, it was just, you know, completely changed and rearranged for the new chassis. So I had that. I got my fill of that, and once I got my fill of that, that's when I got this. But at the start of my journey, it's actually funny because had I never bought a BMW, I probably would have been a Mustang guy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You would have killed some crowds.
I would have killed some crowds. When I was in high school, there was a buddy of mine, and he had a 05 Mustang. It was green, and he was looking to sell it, and I was looking to buy my first car ever. And I liked his car. You know, he had a sound system in it. He had like a little bit of underglow going on. You know, I was younger back then, so I was like, oh, you know, this is kind of cool.
Too many hours in front of Need for Speed?
Yeah, exactly. Too many. So he ended up not selling it. He ended up keeping it just because of how much he loved that car, which was perfect because then came BMW for me. So my mechanic at the time, his name was Dave, or his name is Dave. He was selling a 1996 E36 328i. And I was looking and I liked his, but you know, it was kind of like, on the fence for me because I knew there was other E36s out there that were a little bit better, like M3s and things of that nature.
Correct.
So I was trying to, you know, find one of those. Unfortunately, they were out of my price range at the time. So I ended up buying that. So that was my first BMW ever. It was a 96 328i. And I had that impulsiveness that everybody has when they buy a non-M, do all the M things to it.
Like what? Did you or did you not throw an M badge on there?
No.
No. The way his face said it, he threw an M badge on there. He's one of them.
So to be fair, just like with this car, I feel like I've always been like this because when I had the E36, you know, I tried to do everything the right way. I tried to actually do an M3 conversion to it, and by the time I was done, I really only needed essentially, you know, suspension in the engine at that point.
Was the shape of the body, like, was that the same as the E36?
Yeah.
Okay.
The shape of the body was the same. That never really changed back in those days. But yeah, I mean, I had gotten all the trims, all the moldings, the mirror, front bumper, headlights, tail lights at the time, the Euro specs. I even went as far as completely converting the interior to look like an M3. I got the Vader seats. Those are the original, like, you know, not the original M3 seats, but, you know, those are like one of the most iconic, the Vaders that came in the E36 M3. I got those, and then in the year 2015, brand new Ford Mustang, how ironic, rear-ended me at 50 miles an hour. So I lost the E36 that day. And then after the E36 came a car that I still have now, which is my 2008 335i E92.
Which you don't use.
Which not that I don't use, I can't use because I've had that car now for 6 years. And going back to the military, when I got out, you know, when you get out of the military, the Army will pay for you to go wherever you want, essentially in the world. You know, they'll take all your belongings and things of that nature to you as well. You know, you can opt to fly or you can opt to drive. I opted to drive, so I drove all the way from Anchorage, Alaska, all the way to, which would have been my destination, Florida. So I drove all the way through Alaska, all the way through Canada, all the way down to the United States. And when I got to Missouri, I was about 16 hours away from my destination. It was about 12 o'clock at night. And I was on a downhill slope in 6th gear doing about 70 miles per hour in cruise control. And the entire car shut off on me.
And at that point, you weren't cruising anymore.
At that point, I was cruising still. I had no power. But yeah, the whole car shut off on me. And when the car shut off, I was like, well, that's not good. So I ended up calling a tow truck. I had it towed to a local body shop there in Missouri. And the next morning when they opened, they were saying, oh, you need turbos, your turbos are gone. And I was like, yeah, well, oh, you moved the buckets. I was like, yeah, well, I don't really believe that. So I then had it towed to a BMW dealership. And from there, they did a full inspection. They checked my oil filter, they checked my oil, and I had metal shavings all in my oil. So at that point, I knew I needed an engine. So they quoted me a bunch of crazy prices for crate engines and, you know, used ones in the area. And I told them, I was like, look, man, I'm not gonna lie to you. I was like, I just got out of the Army. I don't have $10,000, $12,000 to throw into an engine right now to get home. So I essentially put it on a open trailer, had it taken all the way back to Florida. And then I caught a flight back to Florida. And now we have the M3.
So are you originally from Florida?
I like to say that just because I've lived here the majority of my life, but I was born in South Carolina. I lived in South Carolina for a little while. I lived in Indianapolis, Indiana for a little while. And then my mom, she became a travel nurse, and then we traveled the United States, and then we ended up in Florida somehow. We lived in Naples, we lived in Key West, and then we finally settled down in St. Cloud, Florida, and that's where I grew up majority of my life from about 11 years old till now at 26.
Gotcha. The only thing I didn't do was the rear.
Oh.
I wanted to capture a different side of you.
You know.
So I've asked John in the last video,
Right.
what motivates you, right? What keeps you going? What keeps you working hard to either elevate yourself with the career path, cars, financially? What motivates you? And don't steal his answer, okay? And you heard it already.
Well, I mean, to be 100% honest, right? It's money. My money is my biggest motivator, and just a better lifestyle in general. I've never been one to be satisfied, or I guess you could say comfortable where I'm at in life, and that's how it's just been my entire life from as long as I can remember until today. You know, I've never just been satisfied with where I'm at or what I have. And that's my biggest motivation, because I'm always trying to work harder or figure out a way to make more income in order to, you know, essentially change my life to where I can get to the point to where I am happy. And that's my biggest motivation. I mean, I'm a workaholic. You know, the Army instilled that into me, you know, work. And that's just essentially how I've lived, you know, my life. You know, even to today, all I do is work. And, you know, I know one day all this hard work that I put in, whether it be whatever job that, you know, I may have, you know, I know one day it'll eventually, you know, all pay off for me, So
here's a topic I also brought up too. One of the topics that I've dealt with, right, is how do you deal with valets? Valets are probably, like I mentioned in the last video, probably one of the most dreadful thing to deal with sometimes, because we all watch Ferris Bueller's Day Off. We all know that movie, right?
Yeah.
Does that happen? It could happen, right? There's all these horror stories about that. So how do you deal with valets? Are you the type of person that would say, hey, screw this restaurant, I'm gonna go somewhere else? Or do you figure something out?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. So if I ever do happen to run into a restaurant that, does have valets or an event or wherever I'm going, I kind of like to assess my situation. And again, that's the Army side of me. I like to look at the type of individual that's going to be valeting my car, essentially,
Molesting
right?
your car?
Molesting my car, right? If it's a younger crowd of kids that are parking the cars, I might not allow them to do it, or I might say, hey, here's your money. Can let me park it?
Stereotyping, see that?
Unfortunately, I mean, listen, I work the valet life, so I can stereotype. I know all you guys out there that work valet. I know how it is.
Yeah, you
know,
pull around the corner or do a couple things here and there.
Yeah, just don't get caught, right? So, yeah, I just like to assess to see who's going to be parking the car and things of that nature. If it's real close or whatever, I'm like, okay, go ahead. But I just like to pay attention. You know what I'm saying? I like to pay attention. I mean, I caught. It's funny you mentioned that. I caught one dude when I was in Miami. I was staying at a hotel, and you couldn't see where they were parking the cars, valeting it.
Yeah.
So I had, I called down or whatever. I said, hey, go get the car or whatever, bring it around. So I can obviously hear him coming. I can hear him flooring it in the garage, down to the hotel. So it was funny because where I was standing at, there was like an open section of windows, and the valet pulled up right there. So when he pulled up, he was flooring it. Yeah. And then he hit the brakes real hard and he got out of the car. When he got out of the car, he saw me looking at him and he was like, it was like that, oh shit moment. You know what I'm saying? I went down there, I kind of looked at him, I was like, here. And he was like, oh, I'm sorry, have a nice day. I was like, no, don't worry about it, I get it.
I get it.
So,
yeah.
I mean, everybody, they want to have fun.
You want to molest my girl.
Oh!
You want to molest my girl? All right, so we'll let you rinse off and then we'll tune in after he's done with that. And I want to ask him some questions because we're not done with that because he is a BMW tech. So that's the next segment. So Ben was just trying to pull a quick one saying that, hey, tell me the question before. I was like, nah, I ain't gonna tell you before.
No preparation.
I'm assuming you got a lot of questions, right? After the video we did about the break-in service.
Right.
What did people ask? Like, I know you got a lot of DMs, man.
Yeah,
you're gonna be like, hey, what's all these DMs, all these dudes hitting you up?
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I even, for the, the viewers, I messaged Ken, I want to say about 5 days afterwards, and I was like, dang, man, I got about 10 DMs of, people asking me, how do I take care of this? How do I take care of that? What to look out for? This, that, and the third. And I was like, yeah, that's some pretty good feedback. About a week later, my DMs were, going off the chart. I could pull them up for you guys and just show you, I would literally just receive Bible scriptures, from these guys that just bought, brand new M3s, G80s, even people, who have the F-body, M3s, messaging me, asking me questions, help, advice, tips, tricks, things like that. And I messaged Ken and I was like, yo, Ken, this is kind of crazy, man. And then I looked at the video and I realized how many views and likes and comments were on it. And I was like, wow, this video actually did really well. So yeah, it was
we're
crazy.
tackling a question that wasn't probably tackled and it was a taboo thing to do. Especially having a guy that's certified from BMW and also him giving us all those relief, right? Because some of the questions we did answer was questions that were answered a lot on Facebook, but not from experts. Maybe from people that read the forums experts, but not people from working from BMW. So I think that Ben did a good job and a justice for the people that watched the video. If you guys haven't watched that video, definitely check that one out. It was the break-in service for my G80 M3. But what else did they ask? What was the most common question?
So I want to say the most common question was, more or less the G80 guys who were messaging me, it was just about what to look out for during the break-in time. I had one guy message me, he was actually pretty scared. He was like, man, I just watched, the Daily Driven's video and you and him talking about the, the break-in service. And he's like, I'm not gonna lie, he's like, I've gone in my car, a couple of times over 120, 130. He's like, I redlined it a couple of times and he asked me, he's like, am I okay? And I told him, I was like, man,
No. Now on Ben's watch, he's gonna void your warranty. That's inside joke. So if you guys know, you guys know.
So I pretty much just explained, to those people who would ask questions like that. I'd be like, look, man, you're okay. Just as long as you're not doing it regularly, you're giving the car a little chance, to calm down and whatnot, from those, fun activities that you're doing during your break-in service, you should be okay. And I think that was probably the most common question I got asked. I did have one guy who came from Lexus. He had pretty much owned Lexus his entire life, and his first BMW was an M, and it was an M3. And this man literally told me that he would pay me for my time and my knowledge. And I'm not even joking. Like, he was very like adamant on it. You know, I assume he was some sort of a businessman because of, you know, just how set on him, you know, paying me that he was. And I turned down his money offer, and, you know, his, like, you know, Amazon gift cards and like things like that, because
don't lie, he was paying you for something else. Okay, I'll stop there.
No, but I mean, for me, it's, you know, the more all of us know, the better the community will be. Because, you know, at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. You know, there's no point in me, you know, being malicious or hateful towards anybody who wants to ask me a question about, you know, something on their car, or how to better themselves or better their car. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, if I help you, you help somebody else, and the community only grows and gets better from there. So that's my mindset. That's my take on it. And out of everybody who messaged me, I tried my best to reply and, you know, decent amount of time, you know, to their question and help them with whatever they were, you know, asking me questions about.
Because you get a lot of questions, and a lot of those questions are important topics, because these are things that people are afraid of blowing their engine. They want to do the proper maintenance. And we all know the best maintenance you can do is definitely keep up with your oil changes.
Yeah, definitely.
One thing I've asked Liquid Moly is, so they recommend follow your owner's manual, right? So are you the type of person that likes to change it every 5? Because every 10,000 miles is what this car needs.
Correct.
So how often do you like to change your oil, and what's the reason why behind that? I think it's a general question that I think we could all take into account. Why is that?
So I typically like to change my oil every 3K.
Because you got that money, man.
No. I like to tell people it just depends on how you drive, right? If you like to beat on your car often, all the time, every time you drive it, you know, if you're banging off rev limiter, or if you're somebody who, you know, tracks your vehicle and, you know, does events like that to where, like, you know, your RPM band's really up there, you know, I like to recommend, you know, every 3, you know, between that 3 and 5K. You know, it just helps out the internals of the engine stay fresh. You don't have to worry about any sludge buildup. And I mean, you don't have to worry about that anyway if, you know, you're going with Liquid Moly. You know, their products are outstanding. Their oil is outstanding. I've always used Liquid Moly in all of my vehicles. And then you got guys out there talk about, what's that other one? Motul?
Motul.
Yeah, Motul.
Amsol, right?
Yeah, Amsol.
Yeah, Amsoil. For me, I mean, I've always been a Liquid Moly type of guy. I just feel like, you know, their oil, their products are superior. And they've never done any of my BMWs dirty. So I have nothing bad to say about Liquid Moly in that aspect.
So what was the most interesting question you've received? You see a lot of questions, but what was the most interesting?
That's a tough one. I think some of the most interesting ones that I received were actual literal videos of people just asking me, like, what is this noise? You know,
recording things and showing you, right?
Yeah, recording things, showing me.
I've done that before to him.
And I'll tell you guys, you know, watching this video now, it's very hard to diagnose things, you know, through a video, right? Unless it's a very, like, relevant or, like, present noise
like
in that moment.
Like rod knock?
Yeah, like rod knock. You know, it's kind of hard to tell over a phone. But, you know, I do my best. And this particular gentleman, he was asking what this noise was. And to me, it sounded like it was his high-pressure fuel pumps.
Okay.
But he was pretty concerned about it. This was another, you know, individual first BMW, you know, M car. And, you know, so he's not used to the type of noises that these cars make and how loud they can be and things of that nature. So I told him, I was like, to me, it just sounds like your high-pressure fuel pumps, but obviously, you know, you're still in warranty. If it concerns you that much, just take it into your local dealership and, you know, have them see if they can diagnose it, or just let them, you know, set your mind at ease, you know, if it's just something that's normal. And that's what he did, and it turned out just being, you know, his high-pressure fuel pumps. They're just loud on the S58, and
you're mentioning there's less sound detening.
Correct.
In the engine bay.
Correct.
So
and,
I learned it from the last video, so I pay attention.
And I mean, people just aren't used to that. People, you know, if you're coming from a Camry, a Corolla, a Honda, a Lexus, the cars are very quiet. You know, you're not used to hearing all these clacks and clings and tings and all this other, you know, abstract noise that these cars make because of how much power they push. So it can be, you know, concerning.
Yeah.
And usually that's the most common questions that I would get is, hey, is my car okay?
So I'm gonna ask you a question.
All right.
What got you into YouTube? I know, because look, if you guys haven't subscribed to John's channel, which is the guy holding the camera, you guys seen him multiple times on the channel, and also Ben here. What got you into YouTube, man?
So I want to say it was like a mutual agreement between me and my YouTube partner, Jamal. As I was transitioning out of the Army, we both had agreed, like, YouTube sounds like a cool thing, sounds fun. Why not, let's do it, Me and him, we both went to high school together. We both took 3 years of digital video production. And, so we were pretty good on the editing side of things, but we just never really picked up a camera and did it. So we were like, hey, let's do it. And the agreement between me and him was, we didn't care whether we made money or if we blew up and got famous, but, we just wanted to one day be able to sit down and look back on the memories that we shared and the times that we had, when we were older, and be like, dang, we really did that. We really went here, we really went there, or we really, built this car or built that car.
No, that's the cool part about making videos and stuff, because I know, I may say it in the next video, but what got me into YouTube was actually, I went on a vacation in like Europe, and I vlogged the whole thing for my, my wife, my fiance at the time, and also my best friends, but I did horrible, man. I was recording everybody's ass because I was so afraid of holding the camera where people could see it. I was afraid of being that person. But when you do this YouTube thing, you have to just go with it. You can't just care what people think. Yeah. It's weird because now my neighbors know that I do YouTube because now we've been recording the whole time, right? And they're probably looking at like, what's this guy doing? Why is there such a mess in his garage? But I enjoy it. I enjoy making the videos. I'm sure you enjoy making the videos and interacting with the community. Yeah,
no, absolutely. Ken's lying, by the way. He was actually recording everybody's ass because he was doing a cast for a different style of recording.
OnlyFans. Oh, yeah. But I guess we're wrapping things up here. I'm gonna be probably doing a video on my channel in reference to my car, and I'll have you guys ask me questions.
Cheers.